What's going on? Welcome back to Cool Fred's Garage. So I'm back out here again on the 73 Chevy. I pulled the engine apart a little bit, took the intake off to replace two lifters, and I also replaced some guide plates to kind of get the rocker arm center of the rocker arm tips, just to kind of improve some of the reliability. Just one of them days after work, getting back out here. Been a couple days since I've been able to get back on it, but so I almost got it back together. Just gotta put the throttle body back on there. Gotta put the EFI back on there and the valve cover and set the timing. So that's pretty much what I'm about to get into next. So yeah, this the throttle body, the fuel injection unit. So I mean, it probably look like it's a lot going on with it, but it's pretty simple. It's only the main harness is wired into the car, so it's only a few connections, maybe 3 main connections I gotta make, maybe 4. So this right here is for the this is for the screen, the handheld screen. And then these are this right here is pretty much like the main wire harness here. This is a temp sensor here. So that's a temp sensor. And you got your main power and fuel pump wire, which is this one. And then you got your inputs. Pretty much your inputs, like RPM. I forgot exactly what it is. I think it like one of them kind of fires. I'm not sure if it fires the coil or fires the distributor when it fire, because it's been so long. Y'all look through the instructions. So I got an ignition box on here, but I don't have this system controlling the timing. I think if it was controlling the timing, then I would have to use this connection here, but I don't have it controlling the timing. So I think I want to say, to a certain effect, I believe that is built into the computer system, that it does control the timing slightly. Just kind of how you can, but it knows where the timing is pretty much, because you can tell on the screen, like it kind of moves around, even though I don't have that feature turned on. But system's been running pretty good. Like I mentioned before in another video, I've been running this system since, I want to say, 2017, and haven't had a lot of problems out of it. I did have a little initial setup issues with it, but a lot of that was just due to some issues I had back in the fuel tank. Like on the fuel pump system, I had like the supply hose between the tank and the fuel pump unit, kind of like those older GM cars, like that little bit of fuel line ruptured, and I lost fuel pressure. So I think I talked about that before, and that's why I got a fuel pressure gauge installed over here. So without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can get this thing fired up. I might get a chance to show you guys the process I use for timing my engines. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this throttle body thrown on there, get the distributor dropped in, and get the rolling. Alright, so I got the throttle body on. I got all my vacuum lines connected. Well, I got one more vacuum line to connect, which is my brake booster, which is down here somewhere. And then I got my transmission vacuum line for I got a pressure switch for that controls the unlock for the torque converter on the TCI transmission. Actually, this is my brake booster hose here that I got running to this vacuum canister. So I gotta get that plugged in back over here. So that goes about right there. So I got some paint chips that fell off my hood. Make sure I get that cleared out. But I'm pretty much almost ready to drop the distributor down in there. This right here is that vacuum line I got going from this ground wire goes to the distributor to power up the coil. So this is gonna connect here. So these vacuum connections. So I'm gonna do that once I get to the other side. But one thing that I didn't really get a chance to talk about a lot on that's me adjusting my little step stool right here. So I know, like the initial video where I took the EFI off, I mean I pretty much just unbolted it and snatched it off because I mean I'm just familiar with the car. So just pretty much took it off. So I really didn't talk much about this wire right here. So this is one of the ones I had to actually go back kind of up under the car. This right here connects to the O2 sensor. So this car has a wideband O2 sensor. So I gotta see how I'm gonna, well, I know how it's gonna route, but I got it routed, I had it routed a certain way. So it's a connection down there on this transmission dipstick. I'll show you guys that. And I got the sensor inside the header on the passenger side. So this right here pretty much just kind of goes right here, and this is the temp sensor. So pretty much for any type of fuel injection system, it doesn't matter whether it's like these throttle body types, or if it's a system on a LS, or just any basic car or truck, especially so you need like a couple things. Two main things kind of help it run the best. So it needs to know the engine temp sensor, and it also needs to know the biometric or the ambient temp. So basically how hot or cold it is outside. So that ambient temp sensor, they got it in the throttle body here. So there's a sensor right here. So that's like the temperature sensor. So if it's cold outside or if it's hot, it knows what the temperature is. So it is based on how cold and hot it is, and what the coolant temp is, how hot the engine is. And that's how it comes up with a lot of these calculations on, you know, how much fuel to spray. And then the third one, that's two of them. Then the third one is your oxygen, how much fuel, how rich or lean the fuel is in the exhaust stream. So those like three major things there. So, and for you guys who know a little bit about the Fitech unit, the Holly Sniper and a lot of the other ones, that MSD, Fast, pretty much all of them, they have the computer. They either have an external computer box, or this particular one has a computer box like right there. So it has a microcomputer right here that's on the throttle body. So I think the MSD Atomic has a similar setup. A lot of the Holley snipers are like that too. And then there are some that have an external computer box. So that's that. So I'm gonna kind of make sure I got it kind of going down the right way. I want to say, because most of my main wiring is just kind of, I think I just kind of have it like this. I just let it kind of just sit on the side here, and I'm just gonna run this down there. Then I got my spark plug wires when I drop my distributor in. So I think I talked about this harness here. That orange is the fuel pump, the red is the main engine hot, and then I talked about a few of these that come off of this small connector here. So a lot of these are your inputs. Like I believe one of them, it's got 4 wires there. So one of them is an ignition trigger, and I got this Summit Racing ignition box. It's similar to an MSD. So there's a trigger wire off of there that runs to the so it needs a trigger signal, a RPM signal, and I think it's got to know when the coil is firing. So I think it uses one of those. And then the other one is an ignition switch on. So I believe you got to have ignition hot while starting the engine. So it's basically got to be hot when the ignition's on, but while starting the engine, it's got to remain hot. So I want to say I'm using 3 or 4 connections out of there. So and pretty much the ease of it, like right now when I get ready to fire the engine, I'm probably gonna connect this small one. Actually gotta find that harness because it probably dropped down. I got it back here somewhere. But so that particular, this is one of them. So this pretty much goes here. And that's the nice thing about, you know, a lot of this stuff is kind of plug and play once you get it wired up. So I can actually leave this loose, and that'll give me a little bit of, that'll make it safe while I'm trying to kind of get the engine at top dead center and set my timing. So or the second option is like these wires here. So this red is the hot, this orange is for the fuel pump. I forget exactly what the yellow is for. I probably looked that up. But I know that the orange is the fuel pump, the red is ignition hot. So you can easily pull the fuel pump fuse, or if something goes wrong, you can easily check, see if you got power going to the fuel pump. You can power up the fuel pump through this harness here, like if you got to drain the tank or whatever. So it's all sorts of cool things that you can do, but it is plug and play. So let me go ahead and route this, and then I'm gonna go down and show you guys the O2 sensor. All right, so I found my my other harness, that 4-pin harness for the fuel injector. So and it's still got the labels on here where you can kind of see what goes where. So the yellow wire is for the fan, which I'm not, because this system can control electric fans, but I have a standalone fan control box over there. So that's from the Auto Cool guy, the HF25. So variable speed controller for these high power fans here. Let's see here. So the yellow's the fan wire. I'm not using that one, but I am using the other 3. The yellow So yeah, the yellow is the fan, the white is key. So that's the one that's got to be ignition hot while cranking. Then the blue is the tach, and the black is the coil negative. So pretty much that's gonna connect to this smaller one here. So once I make sure I got everything just kind of routed okay, that's gonna be out of the way to the distributor or whatever. So that just kind of sits down in here anyway. So I kind of got it going down through there. So basically, it's these main two wires here, or two harnesses here. So these two here, and that's ready to run. All right, so here we go. So I'm gonna put the car on the passenger side here. So yeah, this right here is actually, that goes to the distributor. So I don't even know why that's down here, but all I can really think of is that I probably maybe tucked it on the back side of the engine while I had the valve cover was off, just to kind of keep things out of the way. But I actually got to run this back up to the top side of the engine. So this is actually from the ignition box. This is from the ignition box, and that goes to the distributor, to the pickup coil. So this right here, this is the O2 sensor that's over here on the passenger side. So I had a local exhaust shop around town weld me that O2 sensor bone into the header collector pipe. So that's in the header pipe, and I kind of got it pretty much out of the way. I haven't had a whole lot of issues with it, like heating up or burning up. But you can see I got a couple zip ties wrapped around this transmission dipstick here. So basically, this right here is my connector for the O2 sensor. Alright, so that's the connector right there that I ran down from the top. So that goes to the O2 sensor. So it has 6 wire pins in there. I'm assuming this is probably a heated O2 sensor, just like a lot of modern cars. So, but they do refer to it as a wideband O2 sensor. So that's the sensor there, and that's the connection that I'm gonna make to plug in. So there we go. So it just clicked in, and that's that. So I got a couple spark plug wires that I took down up in here too. So hopefully I can reach in the back of the engine and get this pulled back up. Grab that and kind of get that out of the way. So pretty much from here, I'm ready to go back to the top. That's where my O2 sensor is right there. The connector for it. Alright, so next up I'm about to go ahead and connect my coolant hose here. So get something, tighten it on up. Alright, so I got the coolant hose tight, and right now that hose is collapsed because I got vacuum on the system, because I'm going to use this vacuum filler to fill the coolant system. So I've used this in several of my other videos. So I actually got to swap this hose with another one right there, and I'm going to suck the coolant out of this reservoir down there, the drain pan. So I'm basically going to use the coolant that I drained out because it's fairly new, and then I'm gonna get ready to drop this distributor down in here. So this is the HEI distributor, and it's pretty much wired up like this to the pickup coil for the ignition box. So I'm just gonna check my rotor button, make sure everything is good, and I'm gonna drop it on down in there in a little bit. and we're gonna get ready to get this thing ready to get timed up. All right, so I'm gonna switch this valve right here and get this coolant sucking. I was trying to hold the camera a second ago and do it, but it was a little tricky. But so right now the coolant is draining from this pan. It does have a strainer on there, so I don't get all that. A little bit of, you know, it's like a little bit of a few little flies and gnats and stuff that's been kind of around the car that you see in there. But the coolant is pretty clean, so it's sucking that in there. So I got most of that in there, and to top it off, that's the nice thing about these vacuum fill coolant fillers, is that, you know, you can just kind of you can just put the hose in the coolant, put a vacuum on there, put your hose inside your coolant coolant bottle, which I got several over here. I think I got green coolant in the trunk of the car. But let's say this container here, this is the wrong type of coolant, that's for my truck. But you can basically fill the coolant system real quick with those things. So y'all probably see me use that in some of my other videos. So I can check to see how full it is, and I got a little coolant that I'm gonna add and top it off. I don't even have my flashlight over here with me, so I can look to see. I can kind of see. It's like it's a little tricky, but it's like right down here in that area, so it's pretty close. I probably just need to top it off just a little bit. So, but as far as all these, it's a little bit of residue there that got screened out, so I didn't feel like straining it. But I didn't get all the mosquitoes and gnats either, so they're still in there. So we're gonna roll with that. All right, so I got the cooling system all filled up, and this right here is my distributor. So this is a HEI. It's kind of like a Frankenstein unit, but not an actual Frankenstein, but it's just kind of like a mixture of a few parts, because I started off with I had a Proform back in the day. But the mechanism for the advance, for the mechanical advance, like the spring weights and stuff, they got jammed up. So basically what I did, I ordered like basically a cheap billet distributor off of Amazon, and I just stole the bottom part. The reason being because I already had I didn't need the module or anything like that. I just needed basically the bottom part of the distributor, because I'm running an ignition box. So if you guys connected the ignition box to an HEI, if you're not running like the old school style or the smaller cap distributor, because they got a lot of Hall effect and all kind of, you know, aftermarket, like an MSD with the smaller cap, which so this got a Petronix 60,000 volt coil in it, I believe. I forget, but anyway, this is the distributor. I'm gonna take the cap off, but basically I got the cap on there because, like, the number one. So the number one is right here where I got this mark right there. So I'm basically gonna drop this bad boy down in here. Looks like I got a little, I guess a little gnat or something. So I'm gonna blow him out of there, make sure I ain't got no trash and nothing up in there. So I just kind of spin it, make sure it spins good. It's hard to spin it when I'm holding the camera, but you know. So that's it. So gear's good, all that stuff is good. So I'm about to drop it down in here. So it's got the two pin connector to work with the ignition box. So pretty much, but basically I'm trying to have it clocked kind of somewhere right in there. So right now I'm just gonna drop it down in there, because your drive down here drives the oil pump. So I'm just gonna stick it in for right now, and then I'm basically gonna show you guys what I do to get my timer set. Make sure ain't nothing interfering with it. So that's good. So pretty much what I got going on here is, because I'm pretty much just trying to get it kind of in the ballpark. And then trying to do a whole bunch of messing around, like down here turning the crank. I may have to turn it slightly, but basically I got my remote bumper right here. So that red light means that is hot and it's live. So once I press this button, I should be getting some action, which I got a little something. So hopefully I got enough juice in the battery to get this thing bumped around. So pretty much I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna put my finger in the #1 spark plug hole, and once I feel that compression pressure, so basically that's let me know that the engine's on the compression stroke, and right before the power stroke, before this joker gonna fire. So have you guys know I got the ignition off, I got the fuel injection unplugged at one of the connectors over here. So basically I got the 4-pin connector connected, but as far as the main harness, let's see if I kind of organize this just a little bit. That's my old 2-sensor wire here. So I just need to organize this just a little bit. I'll fix some of this later. But these two, like the main harnesses right here. Make sure I find them down here. Kind of confusing myself here, but here we go. I just kind of got to reroute a few of the wires just to make it a little neater. So there we go. I just had to just pull that one out. So basically, this one right here gonna go right there when I'm ready to power up the fuel injection. So I still do gotta hook up the display, which is those two there, but basically right now I'm just trying to get the timer set. Alright, so to get the timer set on this bad boy, this small block Chevy, so got my remote bumper there, so that's what the pros use. So I got that connected to my starter and the battery, and it's basically just jumping the two together when I press the button. So I'm gonna show you guys the way I like to do it. Let me see here. Hopefully my camera will zoom in as much as possible. So I'm gonna stick my hand in here, bump this bad boy over. Alright, so you heard that bit. So that means I got compression. So hopefully I ain't go too far. So I'm checking over here. So there's a mark on my damper. So I'm making sure that I didn't go too far. I probably did go a little too far. But so I'm gonna do it again, get that about right. Where I'm trying to get it at is as close to 16 degrees before top dead center. But since I'm kind of in a ballpark, I'm gonna go ahead and put this where I want it. Over here. Alright, so right there, I know I'm on my compression stroke. Alright, so right down here, I got a green mark on my harmonic balancer. Let me angle this camera a little bit better so we can see it. So I got a green mark on my harmonic balancer right there. So let me see. Look like it's about 6 degrees before top dead center. So pretty much like this right here, I set it to around, I want to say 6. Pretty much the initial timing for me that I've been running for a while with this setup is about 16 degrees before top dead center. So and you can see over here my distributor is off a little bit. It's dropped in, but it's off a little bit. So I'm just gonna pull it up a little bit. You don't have to worry about where this sitting all the way. You just kind of get it where you want it. So to where it's almost lining up. So what I like to do is just get it to where it's almost lining up. It's up a little bit. You see it's got a little bit of a gap, but you're gonna see what's gonna happen as I bump this. Once it sits down in there on its own. So hopefully it's about lined up close to where I want. But you just bump it over, it's gonna set down in there on its own. So basically you just drop it once it's meshed with the gear. And I mean you bump it over and it's gonna just set. It's gonna automatically just line up with the oil pump gear. So I'm just gonna check again. So I'm trying to get it close to 16 degrees as possible. Alright, so as you can see now, I'm kind of in the ballpark. I'm not exactly where I want to be, but I'm in the ballpark. So I'm on the compression stroke, and my distributor is pretty much lined up with my green line over there. So I'm pretty much in firing range. Like if I had the spark plug in there and I had everything ready to go, it probably would at least start up and run. So I'm gonna try to get it a little bit closer real quick. So basically what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna rotate the engine backwards slightly, and then try to play around with that a little bit, get it close, and then I'm gonna see where it's at. Alright, so pretty much what I just did, I just took my breaker bar and just kind of rotated the engine back slightly to the left. So I got it pretty much kind of where I want it. And you guys got to remember that the camshaft, which drives the distributor, rotates about half the speed of the motor. So I moved it back. Let's say if I rotated the engine back 5 degrees, that means the distributor probably moved like 2.5. So, and you can see right here that kind of got to look over this hose here, but I'm pretty much still within the ballpark. So I'm about somewhere right there. So I should be in the money. So basically I'm gonna put my hole down in there and kind of snug it down, but you know, I'm gonna still leave it a little snug so I can move it. And I'm gonna go ahead and get everything else assembled, and should be ready to light it up. Alright, so I think I got the timing pretty close. I was gonna let you guys know, yeah, pretty much. I mean, it took me less than 5 minutes to get this thing timed. So as long as there's nothing like seriously wrong with the engine, or I'm not having an issue with the fuel injection and nothing like that, I can usually get them fired up pretty quick. So I was gonna try to start this thing tonight. I still gotta put this valve cover on. Pretty much the only reason I left it off is just to kind of just make sure that that both of the valves are closed. So I got a few things to hook up. I gotta put the distributor hold down in there, which I think I got it in there. I just gotta make sure I got it the right way. And then I'm gonna snug it down a little bit. But the main thing is, cause I had a little dust on my throttle body, I've cleaned it off over here when I had it on the bench with some brake cleaner. But my air filter, man, this thing, I don't even remember the last time I cleaned this. So I'm pretty much gonna try to. I got some extra like K&N and some. I got some. What's this other cleaner? Actually, with my truck intake. I got some, I think this S&B, so I'm gonna see between this and the other one. I'm pretty much gonna go ahead and just jump on trying to go ahead and get that filter clean, because it's like no telling the last time I cleaned that. And where I got my water hose out there, I'm gonna go ahead and try to get it sprayed down. So you can see it's all kind of dust in there. So I just seen. It wasn't a whole lot of dust on the throttle body, like on the inside there, but it was just like some traces. So, and you can see the inside of the filter still kind of clean, but maybe a little bit seeping through. So I'm gonna go ahead and y'all probably don't see that dust, but it's in there. Yeah, this thing pretty dirty. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to clean this real quick. That way I can let that sit overnight and dry, and then maybe when I get home tomorrow, I'll try to re-oil it. Once it's dry, I'll try to re-oil it, or maybe sometime in the morning. And pretty much all I gotta do, I got a few little, not a lot. Just gotta hook up the coil in the ground for the distributor. Gotta hook up the display, the handheld. And then put all the spark plug wires on. So, but I'm also gonna charge the battery with my trickle charger. And you gotta see, I got my timing light right here, so when we do get it fired up, I can time it. But I'm trying to find my. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw my trickle charger on there, because the battery's probably a little bit weak. That way the battery's at 100%. That way when we get ready to fire it up, everything is, you know what I'm saying, on point. Hot battery, good air filter, all that good stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and set the valve cover on there, try to get it snugged down, and then I'm gonna try to get the distributor snugged down, and then this thing will be ready to fire up real quick. So just stay tuned. All right, so a quick recap before I wrap it up for the night. I got my trickle charger on here. So battery's already at well, it's past 50%, working on charging up to 75%. So got the valve cover on there. Got most of pretty much all the connections are made, except for I gotta put the #1 spark plug in there, and then I gotta hook up 3 wires for the tack, the coil, and I think the ground for the distributor. And I got my air cleaner. I got it cleaned out and washed out. So right now I'm just gonna let it dry. Got my fan on it. So I got it kind of angled down in that direction to dry that, and then I'm gonna try to oil it up tomorrow, maybe in the morning before I go to work, depending on if it's dry. Try to oil it up and it'll be ready. That thing was just real dirty, so that's gonna cap it off for the night. And hopefully tomorrow, you know what I'm saying, everything will be ready to fire up.